Hi, welcome to our Winter Break Creative Challenge. So today we're going to focus on ways we can build our color palette for these challenges. And it's going to be kind of pick your own adventure. So I'm going to pop into a whole bunch of different programs. So make sure you check the down bar and follow along on our table of contents so you can work in Spark, in Illustrator, in InDesign. Really decide how you want to work. But our focus today is going to be color palettes. And however you choose to present that is really up to you. This is really about getting to know color, getting to know color libraries and the whole Creative Cloud library system, and getting started with our creative adventure for winter break. So enjoy. Beginning our discovery of color, we're going to start with Adobe Capture. So this is a free app. All you need is your Adobe logon ID, and this is the icon with the CA, so we'll open that. And my first recommendation is to set up a library. So libraries can be accessed across all of the Creative Cloud programs. I've already set up one, but if you need to, just tap up here on the top and you can hit that plus mark and add a new library. We've already got my winter break creative challenge started, and you can see I cheated a little, played around with some colors. Who can resist colors? So you can take a photo in here using the camera icon. In my case, I already took a photo, and so I'm just going to import the image from my camera roll. And so this is actually a holiday placemat that a friend of mine, thanks Madam Grammar, made for me. And so I just love all the colors here. So I'm going to use this source photo as a way to build some colors. So you can take a photo and pick it. You can pick it from your camera roll, whatever you want to do with this. And so I'm in that color display, and notice I have these little nodes. And so I can move those around to get different colors that I like. So I definitely want to come over here and get one of these teal colors. And I'm liking the pinks and the greens, and I love that red it picked out. So to me, this is really representative of the colors that we're looking at. When I like it, I just hit that check mark, and now it moves me into another option. So here I can decide to, and this is down the bottom left-hand corner, if I want to use RGB, CMYK, Lab, or HSB. Since a lot of our work is going to be screen, I'm going to go ahead and stick with RGB values. Now I want us to look at the color display we're seeing in the middle here. So as I click on different colors, I'm getting some information. First of all, I'm getting my RGB values. Those are the numbers that you see. I'm also getting my hex color. That's going to come in handy later, so remember that phrase, hex color. Those are web-safe colors. So I'm really liking these colors. Now notice along the top, we're in that swatches mode, but I can also move to my harmonies mode. So if I wanted to change the colors that I have here, I could. So I can go up, and this is my custom colors, because remember we picked those with our image, but I can manipulate these and go into, say, analogous or monochromatic. Analogous and monochromatic would be if I wanted to create something that looks pretty stable, not really high energy. Something like this complementary, or certainly the triad, is going to be a little more dynamic. And I can always go back to my image and repick colors. So I can go back to whatever I had before, and we're just going to hit the back button here, because what I want is actually our very first color, which is what we pick. So that's just using those undo and redo arrows down at the bottom. So I'm going to hit save on that color, and it's my color theme, and I'm just going to give it a name so that I can have a little more clarity where I got this photo from, and that'll help me remember that. And so I'm saving it to my winter break creative challenge library, and I can also publish it to color themes, and that's what we're going to look at next. Okay, we are now inside of color.adobe.com. So first let me give you a little lay of the land and some cool things you can do in here. So up in the upper right hand corner, we have a little how-to, kind of a what's new. Next, we have a color theme switcher, so you can switch that if you like. And then we have a color game, real fun, play with that color game. Some help tools, a chat forum, giving feedback, and then this is linking to your Adobe account and apps. So we're going to go back to our create, and so create is going to let us build some color themes, okay? And so we're going to start with just our color wheel here, and this color that has the arrow next to it, that's kind of like my main color. So I'm going to get it over here into like this, I kind of want a greenish blue color. So now that I've set my main color, I can decide what color rule I want to apply with that main color. So notice that color is staying the same, but I'm getting some different types of blends in there. And so you can build this to build your color. So I'm kind of digging this one. I like that one. I am not scared of color. I like these three together a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, even though I may not use these. And so I can even tweak those if I want to, and shift where those land. I'm actually not going to do that. So let's go back to our main color. And I'm going to name this. And notice it's going into that winter break creative challenge. And I'm going to not publish it, and I'm just going to save that. Notice down here I'm in that RGB color mode. I've got my hex colors. I've got those RGB colors that I can check out. So the next thing is I can extract any theme. So if I have some photos on my computer, I can pull that. I can pull gradients from an image. Next, along the top, I'm going to go to Explore. So it always leads with Pantone Color of the Year, and you can see some of the things that Adobe did with Save the Corals. But I can also type in my own. So I'm going to type in winter. And so it pulls other sources. So I can grab a color I like, add it to my library. And notice it's always going into that winter break challenge because that's what I have selected. And so I can explore different themes and just add them. I could also download those as a JPEG. So I'm going to go ahead and add that one to the library. And then this one I'm going to download as a JPEG, and we'll come back to that one and that one later. Trends show me kind of what colors are trending, some different industries, so I can look through what's going on in fashion and graphic design, illustration. So that's kind of fun to explore it, kind of color living out in the wild. And finally, you can go over to libraries, and it's going to show all of the libraries that you have. So you can see there's all of the libraries that I have, including our winter challenge. So that is Adobe Color online. Okay, so we have jumped from Adobe Color into Illustrator. All I did here was set up a letter print size document, and then I drew some squares along the side. This is how I work in Illustrator, and I'm going to fill those squares with colors that I'm going to use when I design a project. To me, it's easier to have it out there, to always have those colors in mind. You do not have to do it that way. You can certainly maximize your use of either the color panel or the swatches panel. Speaking of panels, let's talk about our workspaces really quick. So my workspace might look a little different than yours, so I want to tell you about a couple of options. First of all, if you go to Window and Workspace, you have both the Essentials Classic and the Essentials. The Essentials Classic, for example, brings all of your palettes out, and you have a control bar. That is a great way to work. If you are in the new Essentials, you might find that things look a little bit different. And the first thing you're going to notice, and I'm just going to reset mine, is maybe I might mention a tool and you're like, well, Heather, I don't have that one. In the new Essentials workspace, it's kind of like the stripped down workspace. Notice we don't have a lot of panels over here, and it kind of abbreviates your tools. To change that, click that Edit Toolbar button, go up to that top flyout menu, and just switch to Advanced Tools. Don't let that freak you out. You are more than capable of using advanced tools. And then if you don't like it to be long, you can just expand that toolbar. Really, either way works. It's just a matter of what your preference is. All of the panels that we will access are going to be in that window menu. So if you are in the Essentials panel and you're looking for something, that is where you'll find that. I'm just going to switch back real quick to the Classic in case most of you might be more comfortable over here, and then we can all be on the same page. So let's dig into color. So I'm going to go ahead and expand this whole set of palettes so we can see things a little bit clearer. So first we have our color, and just like we picked color on Adobe Color, I can pick colors here. And then I can add that to my swatches panel. My swatches panel, I'm actually going to pull this out. So I'm just dragging it out. I can change how I view that. Right now I'm in a medium thumbnail. I'm going to expand that. So there's all of my colors. And if I find a color that I really like, let's say that pink color, I can drag it down into my swatches panel and have it accessible. I can go over to my color guide, and this again should remind you of some of the things we've been seeing with looking at shades and tints. So there's that color, and it's the color I have selected in my swatches, and I'm looking at different color rules here, just like we did before. So let's say that I'm really kind of liking this triad color. I can bring all of those in, find other tints and shades, and if I'm like, this is a great color group, I can save that to my swatches panel. So just some basic ways you can navigate within this. So let's look again at our swatches panel. At the bottom of our swatches panel, you're going to see a swatch libraries. And so that swatch libraries is another way to access some really cool colors. Let's check out Celebration. So you got Celebration. I can also just arrow through and look at different colors. If you're used to looking at Pantone or focal tone colors, you'll find those in the color books. But this can be a really cool way to find some interesting colors. Let's go into Seasons. And so I can mouse over, get the title for them. I'm guessing our winter colors are going to be down here, some cool ones. I'm looking for something a lot more vibrant. So there's a couple of different ways that you can start building your own color story. I'm going to go ahead and bring in our color library. So here's our Winter Break Creative Challenge. And you can see here's all the color libraries that I've created. Let's go ahead and look at this Christmas or winter one. So what I can do is select that, control click it, and add that entire theme to my swatches. And so now I have that color theme. If I wanted to use this technique out here, all I need to do is select my little color square, select my color. And so this is typically how I build and work with color, is I have those out to that side. Now here's another fun thing that you can do. So I've got that color set. I can go into my edit colors and recolor those. So it's bringing in my colors. I can choose how many I want to use. I'm going to leave this on auto. I can pick a different color library. So if I want to pick this color group, it's going to recolor those for me. I can also bring in a photo and use my color theme picker. I'm going to hold off on that because we're going to do something similar over in InDesign. So that's a view of all of your colors in Illustrator. Meet me over in InDesign for our next step. We are now in InDesign, ready to look at how we can work with color inside of InDesign. So you're going to start to see a lot of similarities, and hopefully you already have, with our programs. So just like we did last time, I just started us out very simply with a print letter size document. I am in my Essentials workspace, and remember how we looked at our workspaces, Essentials, Classic, and then reset that from last time. And then over here I have my CC libraries, and we have our Winter Break Creative Challenge. So there's our color themes that we put together. Now, if you remember, when we were looking at Adobe Color online, I downloaded some photos. Now you're going to see those again. So I'm going to bring those into InDesign. So I'm going to File, Place, or Command D. Those are going to be in my downloads. And I'm just going to grab both of those photos by holding Shift and hitting Open. And I'm just going to place those. And they are way super big, so we need to scale these down. I'm just going to cruise over to my Properties panel, make sure I have my lock on here, and I'm just going to scale these down to 25%. And so you can see it brought in those color swatches. Now, I could also place a photo in here. Either would work for what we're going to do. I want to introduce you to the eyedropper tool. So with my eyedropper tool, I can sample color and then apply it to other objects. I can also sample text, and we'll get to that when we do more InDesign work. If I click and hold, you see that white little arrow on that eyedropper? That means there's a tool underneath, and we're going to grab the color theme tool. When I click on that photo, it's going to grab all the colors. And if I click this arrow, I have some additional options. So if I wanted the bright or the dark, and then I can add that to my swatches. I can also add it to my CC library. So you can see, just added that color swatch in. And we'll do this to this photo. And let's do that colorful one. Add it to my swatches. Add it to my library. And let's bring up that swatches so you can see those. And that is under Color and Swatches. And so you can see it goes into those folders. Now I can rename any of this. So if I want to rename this winter, what does that remind me of? I'm making things up now. So I can rename those. Now I also want to show you some of the other things we can do with color. Color themes? That sounds familiar. This is basically the onboard version of what we saw online. So let's say we're really into this blue, specifically this blue. So I can grab that color with my eyedropper tool. And so now I've made it my fill color, and I'm going to set selected color from active. So there's that base color, just like we saw online. And now I can change that color rule, just like we did before. So I'm really kind of liking this analogous look here. Let's check that monochromatic. Ooh, that might be nice. That reminds me of like a winter sky. So again, I can add those to my swatches. I'm going to name that. I'm going to call that winter sky. And I can take all of these colors and add those to my color themes as well. So just like we explored with color themes online, you can explore those right on board. We'll search for winter again inside of InDesign. So by now you should have really built up some color stories. If you decide you don't like something, you can always select it and hit that trash can. So you can edit your colors as you go and really build some interesting color story. Next, we're going to hop over to Adobe Spark online and look at color there. We are on our final stop in our color adventure tour of all things Adobe, and now we're on Adobe Spark. So this is at spark.adobe.com. You can use free tools here. If you're a subscriber, you get some premium features that I'll loosely mention here. But this is a great tool. So there's 3 parts: Spark Post, Spark Page, and Spark Video. We're going to kind of dip into Spark Post today. And if you need more in depth, I'm going to link to some tutorials we've done on jschooltech.org. And you can definitely dig into more things Spark. So to get started, we're just going to do super simple. We're going to act like we're creating an Instagram post. So I'm just going to click that link, and it's going to pop me up into the Spark editor. And I'm going to dive right into what we've been talking, which is our color. So I want to show you our libraries. And so we have our winter break challenge. Now, what? There's nothing in our libraries. This is a weird thing about Spark. So Spark doesn't pull the colors. It would, if we have photos, and we'll add some photos in there later, add some iconography in there, it will pull those, but it won't pull colors. So you're kind of like, oh, Heather, what a bummer. Don't worry. Remember, on our mobile devices, we have all of the hex colors from when we did that very first project in Adobe Capture. So actually, that's what we're going to use today. So let me show you how we're going to add. What we're going to do is going to go into colors. And so we have current theme colors. We also have branded colors. There's also all kinds of color sets. And you might decide, I really like some of these and want to use some of these. Great. You can also build your own little color set here. So that's what I'm going to do, is pop in a couple of different colors. And so I'm pulling, this is the hex, and I'm going to pull that from my Capture app. And you might remember that from our placemat. So I'm going to pull that color. And I can come back in. Let's say I like that one, but let's pull, if we recall, we had a really fun pink. And so I want to change this one. So I can just click along and kind of change this color grouping. And there's that pink color that we liked. So now I have some colors. So now I can fill colors using that color set. So there's that palette we put together, and I can use that green in there. And again, it's always pulling those hex colors that I've created in there. So that is how you can use your capture, but bring in the colors you want into Adobe Spark. So your goal for this first project is just to use your libraries to develop some color sets that you can use during our winter break creative challenge. Experiment with the tools we talked about. Have fun getting started.